Hello and welcome. Today I want to share a project that I'm making with some items I received from a house of books. If you're not familiar with their website, I will post a link below in the description box. Now, they did send me some items. I got to pick out what I wanted in return for sharing of a project, but I don't make any money if you click on the link and buy anything. I chose not to to get a commission off any purchases because I'm really not into this for the money. I really honestly love creating things. I do love their items, so I said yes right away. I shared a reel on Instagram of the items they sent me. So you'll see I'm using I think all of the items that they sent me, and I'll point those out as we go along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a journal with a slip knot binding. If you're not familiar with that, this is what it looks like. Whoops, this is a journal I made before. And the binding looks like that, like a braid sort of. This one's a little wobbly because I used some really thin paper, but that's an example of one, and I can link to how I made that journal down below if you're interested also. So let's get started. I'm going to work on my cover first, and as I go along I'll describe what I'm doing. So I'm going to speed this up now and we'll go from there. All right, so here we go on the front and back covers. I got a package of those photos, which are called cabinet cards. They're pretty thick, and I'm going to glue the fabric onto the cardboard, the Cracker Box cardboard. I also got a package of book title pages because I thought I have tons of book pages, but these title pages will probably have some interesting words and graphics and things like that. So I'm using my glue stick. The paper is fairly thin, and I know my glue stick works well for that. You just have to make sure you use a good amount of glue and focus on the making sure the corners are attached really well. That always seems to be an issue when gluing things down. But, use whatever glue that you like to use and you feel comfortable using. So just going to trim that off, and then I'm going to glue this piece to my fabric with the Fabri-Tac glue. It's a bit stronger. That fabric's pretty thick. I need something a bit stronger than a glue stick. And then I'm going to trim the fabric down. So that's what you're going to see next. And I'm just making sure that it fits. I'm going to use a lot of Fabri-Tac glue because I really don't want my cover coming apart. And sometimes I use Fabri-Tac glue with fabric like that, and then I will sew around the edges, but I decided not to sew this one. So I really want to make sure that it's stuck on well. So lots of glue. Again, I'll glue it down and then I'll trim it. I'm going to do the same thing for the back cover. I'm doing that for the front cover because I like the way it says family portrait, and then the front cover will have that photo. So there are my covers, and the back cover is that piece. I'm just showing you how I trim it just in case you want to know. For the slip knot binding, I am going to make 4 holes because this is a fairly tall journal. It's about 8 inches tall, and so if I use 3 holes, I think it would be a little too wobbly. This is a little flexible binding, but it's not terrible. So I made a template, and the way I did it, I don't really like to measure, but sometimes we're forced to measure. And I made, the way I did it is I made 1 hole 1 inch from the top of the template and 1 hole from the bottom, and then the other 2 holes are 2 inches apart. So that's what I'm showing you there. And I also decided, because of the fabric, I didn't want it to unravel and look messy when I punch my holes and I'm going to use ribbon instead of thread. I'm just showing you that I did a journal with 3 holes there. It's smaller. So I'm going to use eyelets for the front and back cover. But the paper I'm using, which I'll show you in a bit, is pretty thick and substantial, so I don't think I need any eyelets, and I certainly don't want to use that many eyelets in my journal. So I marked the holes with that white China marker so I can see where to punch them, where the holes will be. And I am just saying there that you need to make sure that your holes are close to the edge, but not too close, because then you can split your paper if your holes are too close. Hopefully that'll make sense as we go along and you see the binding. So I'm doing this, punching the holes first. I'm doing it a bit awkwardly because I'm trying to show it, you know, and record it as I'm doing it. So normally it's not quite this awkward, but still with my big crocodile, it really works well. So I love using this thing. It's quick and easy. I use the same size eyelets. I think it has 3 different sizes, but I use the same sizes all the time, so I never have to adjust it. So then I'm going to set all my eyelets, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing for the back cover, but I won't show that part. Okay, after I set my eyelets, I'm going to deal with my papers. I need to punch 4 holes in each of my papers. And as I mentioned before, I am using some very thick, I'm sorry, I'm showing you how I'm just marking where I'm going to punch the holes for my back cover. I want to make sure they're in the same place. For my papers, I'm not using the template to mark the holes. I'm going to use my cover so that I make sure that most of the holes are in the right place. So I have this very heavy cotton paper. I don't really know what it's called, to be honest. I got it a long time ago, and I have the 3 sheets, a slightly different color that happen to be just the right size. So I'm going to tear down all those bigger papers into the size that I need. I'm just going to use a ruler. I'm going to tear it so I get those deckled or raggedy edges. I really like that look. So you can see how I'm marking each page. That's how I'm going to go through and mark each one. And now I have marked each one of my pages, and I have also hole punched each one of my pages. I've slowed this down, back down to normal speed so you can see the binding process hopefully clearly. Now I have all the pages in the order that I want them in my book. You take all but the last page and lay it down as you see me doing there. And that's how you're going to bind your book, starting with the last page and then adding each page as you go along. Now, I like to turn my book in that direction that you see there. For me, it's just easier, and you'll see why. You take your ribbon or thread that you're using, you put it in half as you see, take the loop that you make and push it through the hole from the top, and so you have that loop that you see there, and then you take your thread or ribbon, I'm just going to say ribbon from now on, take your ribbon and pull it through that loop, and you want it to be fairly taut but not super tight, and you're going to do that with each hole. And then I'm going to show you the first, I'll show you the first one there, and then I'll come back and show you how to continue. All right, I've done 2 other holes, and now I'll do the last hole. Just to show you again, you go through the top with your ribbon doubled up. You hope that this will go through. Let me see if I can maybe, let's see how to figure this out. I'm gonna make it work. Let me trim some of this. Will that help? Probably not. But let's see. And if this, yeah, I think if I push it through this way, maybe. I'm just gonna muscle it through and it works. All right, I did sew it there with red thread because that's what I had on my machine. I'm okay with all of these imperfections, no problem. All right, so again, first one. Oh, and now I have to go through again. Ugh, this is not ideal. Okay, but I did it. I did it. And now that threaded part, I think, is in an okay place. Okay, so those are your first knots. Again, pull snug, not too tight. These I know are not going to go anywhere with the eyelet. Okay, the next thing, take your next page, you put it down face up. With these papers, not necessarily a big deal because they're not decorated. Okay, so then you take the end, this end with the two pieces, and pull it through, push it through, I guess, push and pull through the hole. And you are going to have an opening like this. And you're going to take this thread, ribbon, and you're going to put it through that hole. And then you're going to pull it taut again. Okay? So I'm going to do that one more time. And you can decide how tight you want to pull. Just be careful that you don't split your paper. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I always end up with these not being exactly the same length. I don't know why. It's easier if they're both the same length. Okay, you do the same thing. You go through the top. You're going to keep doing each page the exact same way now. You go through the top, pull, pull, pull. This one also has a sewn part. And then you're going to open that up, slip your ribbon through, or thread if you're using thread, and pull it taut. Okay, so that's how I'm going to proceed. Let me do a couple more. Trim my threads. Go through the top hole. Whoopsie daisy. Pull, 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 and then go through that opening and pull it taut. Now, I'll do this last one, and then I'm going to jump ahead to the very last piece, which will be the cover, because I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to keep going, keep going. I'm going to turn on the TV and watch some TV while I do this. You have your opening, put your thread or ribbon through, and pull it taut. Now that one's a little messy. I don't mind that. I think it looks interesting. So before I move on to the next one, I make sure all of my ribbons are taut, and you can see the beginnings of the pattern. Okay, I'm going to take my next page, face up, and go through the holes from the top. Again, I'll be back when I get through all of these. I'm on the last page, which is the cover. And so remember, we're taking the pages and putting them like this. Somehow my ribbons that were all the same length turned out to be a little bit, some are shorter than others. I think it's because I probably pulled some of the ribbon tauter than others. And, you know, that's just the way it worked out. So I'm going to do the last page the same way I did all the other pages, and then show you how to finish off. And this one ended up, look at that, different lengths, but that's okay too. Again, I think I just pulled one side tighter than another. So once I show you this last, how to tie everything off, I'll show you how it looks. I love the binding with the ribbon. It's really how I pictured it. I wanted a chunky book, but this one's really chunky. And it's okay, but you don't have to use this many pages if you don't want to. You know, you can do your own thing and make it less chunky. a little bit smaller, just use less pages. Remember, I used 19 on the inside. And I actually didn't count exactly right because I should have counted the covers. So I really should have multiplied 19 by, 21 by 3. But I ended up having just enough ribbon. Okay, so now you're all done, except you kind of want to tie this off. Let me do this a little bit taut. Okay, so what you do for each hole is you take one of your ribbon, one side, and put it through the first page and the second page, and bring it around. You take the other ribbon, put it through the first and the second page, bring it around like that. And then you want to tie it. I do a double knot, whether it's thread or ribbon. And that's it. So you're going to do each hole that way. Take one ribbon, put it through, whoops, make sure I'm doing that right. Put it through the first and second page, all the way around. Do the same with this one. Put it through there, around in there, and then you pull these tight and double knot it. That way everything is secure. I'm gonna do something with these as soon as I'm done. Okay, let's see here. I have a little bit of fuzz there. So take this one, put it through the first and second page, bring it around, do the same thing. I did this one back the other way around. The other way. I started with a different side. Anyway, it doesn't matter which side you start on. Okay. Tie these, tie this. Sari silk has a lot of threads, extra little threads and things. Tight, double knot, double knot. Okay. I do like this long thread, and I wish this one was a little bit longer, but that's okay. We do what we can, right? The best we can. So put that through that there, and then go around. This one is a little bit loose. Okay, take this one, go under and around, pull it tight, double knot, and we're done. All done. So the ribbon looks a little wonky right now. That's okay. Here, let me show you the binding. Let's go this way. I love, love, love the way that looks. Honestly, it's so cool to me. It looks like it's so hard to do, but it's really not at all. I mean, to me, it looks intricate, like it's hard. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna trim these ribbons, I think. I'm gonna think about it. Originally, I thought I was gonna make maybe a bow. Let's try it. But I don't know. I don't love that. I could add charms, beads. I could just leave it like that. I don't know. Let me think about it. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how I'm going to decorate the cover. Okay, I have this photo. I don't want to have glare, so I'm going to hold it up like this. There's glare with this photo. It's a cabinet card. I'm going to put it down here, but I won't put it down at the moment just because of the glare. I have this, I don't know what you call it, that I bought at a shop recently, an antique shop. I'm looking for a spot. That looks good to use. Okay, this is it. This is it. Okay, I'm gonna cut off. Now let me think about this. I think I'll cut off a piece like this. the end. And then I'm going to put this down like that. And then I'm going to put, I hope this isn't having too much glare. And then I think I'm going to put the photo like that. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to cut just a little extra right now. I hope I'm not causing glare with that picture. Get this out of the way. I'm going to use some of my Fabri-Tac to glue all this down. And then okay, pieces glued on. Fabri-Tac's a really strong glue. It holds really well. I'm just going to trim it, and then I'm going to work on decorating this a bit further with all the other pieces that I received, the items from the House of Books, a House of Books. I'm going to add probably something to the front, use these beautiful papers and these sewn fabric pieces there that I'm showing you. I love those pieces because I don't have a lot of fancy stitches on my sewing machine, so I really want to use those, and I'll come back and show you how I use some of those. Here's what I've done so far. I decided to stop, even though I'm not completely finished. It'll take me a while to fill this journal up, but I just wanted to show you where I'm at. I decided to add a little bit of a lace piece and a button there. I decided to leave this pretty much the way it was. I did trim some of the longer pieces, and I also ironed these out a little because they were not... they'd look a little better, you know, like this kind of, I don't know, ironed out anyway. So let me just do a quick flip through of what I have done so far. Make sure I'm in the camera. So I used a lot of these sewn pieces, which I really love. This is from what they sent me. This is one of the book title pages. You can really use these a lot. Just like this one. This is part of this sewn piece, just a little snippet. I had this owl piece, so I thought it matched that really well. This is part of a book title page, a little piece of the sewn fabric, and then this was also in what they sent me. I just decorated it just a tiny bit and used the envelope as a pocket. Uh-oh, I need to glue that down a little better. Uh-oh. Okay, then again, this is a nice letter that I had, and this is again part of a book title page, and then I had this floral image that I thought was nice, and I decided to make some of these into pockets. Since these are so heavy, it moves around a little, so I just clipped it. Plus I like the look of the clips sticking out like that. And then I skipped some pages. I just clipped that there because I thought it looked nice. I skipped some pages because I wanted to use the photos, but I didn't want to put them all at the very beginning. So I just used a sewn piece, a photo, I glued it down, and a pretty flower. Really simple. I added these little leftover pieces as little tabs, and then just paper clip this in here just to have it as in the book. And then I made this one into a side pocket to put this photo and another clipped in picture and more of these pieces that I had left over. I think that's it. That's the back cover. A few little threads hanging in there. That's some extra glue. I have to clean that up. But anyway, that's how it turned out. I really love the way that binding looks. It's so cool. I love it. And then look at all the pieces. I still have so much from what they sent me. A lot of title pages that I can use. Still have some sewn bits that I can use. Nice papers, lots of this fabric. So I can still keep working in this book and other books. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.